Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Net Picking, which is Badminton Nation's new video podcast. I'm Jaideep Vaidya, and with me is senior journalist Abhijit Kulkarni. Hi Abhijit, how are you?
Hi Jaideep, I'm fine.
So we've got three special guests with us today. First off, Gaurav Khanna, who is the coach of the Indian Para Badminton team and Dronacharya awardee. Hi Gaurav sir, thanks for joining us.
Hel- Hello, Jwadeep. Thank you so much. Hello, Abhijit.
Hello Gaurav bhai.
And we also have Pramod Bhagat and Palak Kohli, who are two of the hopefuls for India at the Tokyo Paralympics. Hi, Pramod and Palak.
हाय हाय जयदीप
Thank you
जी
so
और
much.
अवीद कुलकर्णी जी.
Hi Pramod.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. So, as you would have guessed by now, we are going to discuss para badminton today. BWF recently announced the 2021 para badminton calendar, and the Spanish para badminton international, which will be held in May, will be the last qualification tournament for the Tokyo Paralympic Games. Now, remember that para badminton will be making its long-awaited debut at the Paralympics this year. So there's a lot of excitement in the circuit after BWF announced the 2021 calendar. As for India's qualification chances for the Paralympics, quite a few of our shuttlers are placed high up in the Road to Tokyo rankings. So in the men's singles standing lower three category, men's singles SL3, we have four shuttlers who are in the top 10. At rank 1 is Manoj Sarkar. Rank 3 is Pramod Bhagat. Number 6 is Umesh Kumar. And
सॉरी.
It's okay, Pramod. Just let him be. It's okay. It's okay. Please carry on. Carry on.
Yeah. Number 6 is Umesh Kumar. And number 7 is Nitesh Kumar. In the men's singles standing lower 4 category, SL4, we've got Tarun, who is ranked second, Suhas Yatiraj at third, and Sukant Kadam at fifth. In men's singles standing upper 5, we've got Chirag Barita at 10th. In men's singles short stature 6, we've got Krishna Nagar at first and Raja Magotra at 10th. In women's singles standing upper 5, we've got Palak Kohli, who's ranked 10th. Palak is also ranked 5th along with Parul Parmar in the women's doubles standing lower 3 to upper 5 category. And in mixed doubles standing lower 3 to standing upper 5, we have Raj Kumar and Parul Parmar. So,
Act.
Abhijit, clearly, like, we've India will have a big badminton contingent for the Tokyo Paralympics. So, can you just give our viewers a sense of, what we can expect from the team?
I think
Right.
let's yeah.
Sorry. Just one thing to interrupt and to correct. I think by mistake. I think it's typographical error. Pramod is consistently word number one
Yeah.
from the start of Paralympic year and to the this thing. And so I think you might have switched over both the names. Pramod is number one, word number one, and with a big lead of 5480 points. And the Manoj is third actually. Just
Is
this
it
correction.
okay?
Just
I got
always.
the rankings from the BWF corporate website. I don't know. Maybe they haven't updated the latest. I'm not sure. But yeah, sorry about that, Pramod.
No, but I think it's a typographical because the
Okay.
rank since last 1 year it's the same. Promote is word number one. No
All
problem.
right.
It's okay. Please.
So, we can get that corrected. But the point is now, Jaideep, we are speaking about para badminton a lot now because it is in Paralympics. But India was always good in para badminton. Like for years, we have had world champions in various events. But I think what has happened is because badminton has got into para badminton has got into Paralympics. Now the focus has come to Paralympics. We then with Gaurav sir there and Sai supporting a lot to para badminton, the visibility of para badminton has improved, and that is why we are talking about para badminton. Para badminton was always a strong thing for India. India was always strong there, and in every world championship we have at least had one gold or two golds. And I'm sure the way we are in Paralympics, we are we are hopeful of multiple medals in para badminton.
Right. And Abhijit, like, why did it take so long for para badminton to come into the Paralympics?
There are a couple of things. Like if we see, I think Gaurav sir is smiling and he can put a lot of more light on this. But the problem was para badminton was outside the purview of BWF, so not directly under the IOC. And so to come into that Olympic movement, you had to have like BWF took over para badminton step by step over a last few years. In fact, there are many national federations who still don't handle para badminton in their own country. So that dichotomy of multiple federations, uh, you not being part of the world body, it affects your chances of getting into the Paralympics or the Olympic Games. And that is where I personally think para badminton lost out for a lot of years. I think Gaurav sir can be more specific about what actually happened behind the scenes.
No, basically, BWF is it's not like that BWF has taken recently, but yes, the your research and your analysis on this matter is almost right. That since BWF has taken over the charge at international level, the level has really gone up, and the complexities which has not made badminton as an Olympic event is obviously the various number of classes. Number one, in few of the classes there were very less number of participation even before. If I say that BWFC informally BWF entered and stay up in connected with this para badminton in since 2007, but after 2011 the things have changed, the scenario had changed, and they have combined the classes. Previously there were the classes, number of classes were very high, but it was even one class, one, and Pramod also had been playing before in various classes. So the thing is, there was sitting badminton also. There were other classes in between two classes also. So the concern is, in order to incorporate it to para badminton Olympic event, there has to be a rise in competition level. There has to be a rise in the number of countries involved. There has to be rise in the performance level. So all these three things BWF had been working since last 4-5 years, and after 2016 Paralympics, it was informally decided that they are going to incorporate in 2020 Paralympics. Unfortunately, it has been delayed just for 1 year, but now it's there. So your research is almost right on this aspect.
Gaurav sir, even though they have reduced a lot of events, we still have a lot number of events in para badminton championship, and out of that only 7 or 8 will be in the Paralympic this thing. So can you throw some light on the logic behind selecting these events, what has happened, and how India stand in various of these events?
Right. Yeah, very, very valid question. Actually, when since I had been working with Badminton Association of India for the with BWF also for various commercial meetings and at a high level organizing super series and other events. So I'm aware that the basic criteria to incorporate any event into Paralympic is basically the number of participants and the level of participants involved, because there are media rights also who wish to see a good match. It should look like a Paralympic event. There has to be a cutthroat, close competition between the players. It should not be like that. There is 2, 3, 4 rallies and it's finished. Because people want to see that there has to be some level defined, some parameters defined for Olympic events. It should be over and above all other events. So defining the supremacy, of course, there was a significant time needed for BWF also to increase the number of participants, to increase the number of countries involved, and to increase the level of badminton, because BWF is not only working in the direction of organizing a good event, but also they are doing very good job in terms of searching new talents, supporting them, involving new countries, and also organizing a coaching setup so that the level of para badminton can be increased and they can incorporate from next Olympics. More number of events are expected to be involved in this Olympics.
I think that is why also SL3 women and SL4 women are not part of the Paralympics this time. Though we are guaranteed to miss out on one gold medal by not having SL3 in the Paralympics, but I think there are not enough participants. That is why we don't have SL3, because I think last three World Para Championship we have a world champion. Mansi was this year, but Parul, who is past her, like you will call her past her prime, given that she's on the wrong side of 40, but she has still been in the top two, and I think she's still in the race to qualify for the Paralympics, despite her age in the doubles event with Parul. So I'll come back to Parul. Parul, how did you take up badminton? What is it
Palak.
that sorry, Palak, what is it that made you take up badminton, and how do you say what how do you describe your journey so far?
If you ask me like how I started into badminton, I would say like I didn't choose badminton, rather it chose me. It just came into my life as a blessing, and just coming out of a mall one day with my mother and my brother, I met a person and he just asked me like what has happened to your arm, and I was very familiar to this question. Like everybody asks for whenever somebody sees me, and first question that is asked to me is this only. And then he asked me about what has happened, and I told that it's by birth and all. So he just encouraged me to just he told me about para sports, and that time we were not aware about, like, we for us that word para sports was very new. And he just told like about para sports and what all sports are there, and then he particularly motivated me to choose para badminton. And that person was none other than Gaurav Khanna sir only, whom I met in 2016 outside a mall. Sir had come over there for a Northern Railways tournament. And that moment, like, from that moment till now, my life has completely got changed. And then a couple of things happen, like for me to listen to first time to a person like who is motivating me towards this stream of sports, was to believe this was very impossible for me, because in my school I have often heard from the teachers and all, like, sports is not meant for you. Like I used to play handball and cricket in my school when I at that time when I was in my ninth standard. But teachers used to say me like, already you don't have one arm, so it's better you concentrate upon studies, and if you will get hurt, you will not be able to do anything in life. So it's better you just concentrate upon the quotas that are for handicapped people in studies, so that you can get a good job. But just that incident, it struck me so to my heart that I thought like now I'll do my hard work so much. If that person is saying, who is the head coach of Indian para badminton team, and I must give a try. And I want to just prove all the odds and just show them that I can also do something, and in that field where I heard in which I cannot. And since then, in after that, when I got reconnected with sir in 2017, and I started my training, and my father got the contact of Gaurav sir again. And then I just came to Lucknow, and then from holding a racket from here, and to just from to the time where I am right now, is a journey that went day by day with a lot of hard work of Gaurav sir as well. And then we made a target small by small. Like he didn't allow me to play nationals in 18 when it was in Varanasi. And then he made a target for me to become a national champion in 2019. And then I played my nationals in first nationals in 19, and I became the national champion of both juniors and seniors category, and as well as women doubles. And then further, we just worked for our main target, that was to qualify for Paralympics. And now I'm happy that we are where our targets were, and now hopefully we have finger crossed, and our dreams are uh, to get on the podium, and rest our hard work is going. Let's see what happens.
Great, Palak. Pramodji, you have been at the top of your game for now many years. Like you won the world championship. You are that way the gold medal hopeful of India for the Paralympics. How do you look at that journey, and do you think it's a lot of pressure now going preparing for the Paralympics?
सबसे पहले तो मेरा ऐसे मैं भी सेम थॉट्स है क्योंकि मैं भी जब भी स्टार्ट किया था मैं अपना गेम, तब मैं इतना एज ए प्रोफेशनली मैं सोचा नहीं था कि मैं कभी खेलूंगा बैडमिंटन। बट जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया तो मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड था कि मैं खेलूंगा। बट जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया तो मुझे लगा कि मैं खेल सकता हूँ, बट मुझे लगा कि मैं नहीं खेल पाऊंगा। एज ए हमारे घर के साइड में सीनियर्स ने स्टार्ट किया, उनको फिर मैंने फॉलो किया, और वो फॉलो करने के बाद मेरा धीरे धीरे इंटरेस्ट बढ़ता गया, और उसके बाद मैं अपना मेरा ज़्यादा झुकाव आ गया बैडमिंटन के लिए। और मैं वहाँ से एज ए प्रोफेशनली मैं 2006 में पैरा बैडमिंटन को ज्वाइन किया था। और तब मेरा थॉट्स नहीं था कि मैं कभी एज ए पैरा एथलीट में कभी खेलूंगा या कुछ करूंगा। पहले बार जब मैं खेला था तब भी मेरा यही थॉट्स थे। तो उसके बाद मैंने धीरे धीरे उसको अडॉप्ट किया, क्योंकि मैं पहले बार जब खेला था तो मैं कभी भी कोई पैरा एथलीट के साथ नहीं खेला था, ऑलवेज मैं प्ले करता था एबल एथलीट के साथ। तो ये मेरे लिए नया एक्सपीरियंस था। मैंने खेला उसमें, फिर मुझे बहुत ये हुआ। फिर जैसे कि सर बता रहे थे कि बहुत सारे कैटेगरीज थी। जब मैं आया था तो बहुत सारे कैटेगरीज थे, SL1, SL2, SL3, SL4, SL5, SS6, SS6 के बाद फिर व्हीलचेयर 1, व्हीलचेयर 2, व्हीलचेयर 3। तो सो मनी था, इस जिस कारण की पैरा बैडमिंटन को ओलंपिक में शामिल नहीं किया जा रहा था। आई थॉट, मुझे भी यही लगता है जो सर का थॉट्स है। उसके बाद 2013 में थोड़ा चेंजेस आए, बीडब्ल्यूएफ ने टेक ओवर किया, और तब गौरव सर का एंट्री हुआ। और गौरव सर ने वहां से बहुत गौरव सर की वजह से आज जो पैरा बैडमिंटन ऊंचाई पे पहुंची है, जैसे कि आप कुछ भी पकड़ सकते हैं। बहुत सारे आज हमें गवर्नमेंट की जितनी भी सुविधा है वो इजीली एसेस हो रही है, और बहुत सारे स्पॉन्सर भी हमको मतलब बहुत ही इजीली ये हो रहे हैं। तो जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ गौरव गौरव सर, क्योंकि वो जब 13 में आए थे, जस्ट वो एक सिलेक्शन ऑफिसर के हिसाब से आए थे, और एक गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय, जैसे आप बोल, गवर्नमेंट सिलेक्शन जो अपॉइंट करते हैं वो उस हिसाब से आए थे। उन्होंने देखा कि क्या है पैरा बैडमिंटन में, और उसके बाद धीरे 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 बहुत कुछ चेंज होते गया। और मेरे में मैं भी बहुत ही मतलब इतना आगे का नहीं सोचता था, क्योंकि एज ए पैरा एथलीट में इतना अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं थे, और ना ही स्पॉन्सर भी थे। तो मैं हार्डली गौरव सर से पहले मैंने 2007 में वर्ल्ड चैंपियन खेला था, उसके बाद 2009 में भी वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप खेला, और 10 में इस गेम ही मैं जर्नी किया। वो बहुत ही क्रुशियल थे, और कुछ ज्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटी थे। गौरव सर आने के बाद उन्होंने कहा है अपॉर्चुनिटी कैसे क्रिएट किया जाता है। तो उसके बाद हमारा बहुत कुछ हुआ, और उसके बाद मुझे जो थॉट थॉट लगता है, क्योंकि स्पेशली इंडिया में अगर मैं देखूं तो गौरव सर के लिए ही इतना हमारा जो पैरा बैडमिंटन आगे गया है। अब ये मतलब बोलना सही नहीं होगा, क्योंकि गौरव सर है साथ में, बट जो एक बोलते हैं ना फाउंडेशन, पैरा बैडमिंटन का जो नी, वो गौरव सर है अभी। और जब से उन्होंने आया तब से अब स्टेप बाय स्टेप, और हम लोग हाईली अभी आज दुनिया में जानती है कि पैरा पैरा प्रमोद भगत एक वर्ल्ड नंबर 1 एथलीट है, या पैरालंपिक में क्वालिफाई कर रहा है, या XYZ कुछ भी जो अभी हमारे को जो अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल रहे हैं, जस्ट गौरव सर। तो हम, और एक तरह मेरी तरफ से बोलना चाहूंगा कि थैंक यू गौरव सर कि आपने हमारे लाइफ में आए और हमारे लाइफ को बहुत चेंजेस भी किया। तो
Mr. Gaurav Khanna, मतलब मैं आप I know you for almost now 10 years. I have seen you as an official. I have seen you as a tournament director, and for a lot of time, not many people knew that you were also a coach of the para athletes. Can you speak a bit more about how you got into coaching para athletes? What made you interested into the para side of badminton?
First of all, Pramod, you speak so too much. It feels like that you were just speaking so much, and that too, it was little embarrassing. In fact, I love you, both of my students and every student. That's separate, but it's a little bit. I felt uneasy. Abhijit bhai, yes, that's true. Uh, See, the thing is, after playing my last nationals in 1998 in Udaipur, Bharuch, my knee got twisted. Then it got operated, and afterwards, since I did not get the support from backside, maybe family and other matters, so I could not play. So I started studying that time, and I qualified various exams, CDS, and in fact CPO level exam, and afterward I got selected in RPF and went for a commando training. And when I see that time also, when I got my first posting in Hathras, Aligarh, it's a junction, Hathras. It's a very famous place. There you can see my name also. For the first time, I was the in charge company commander there. So there also, frankly speaking, badminton was always been a passion, because since childhood I had been playing that game. And that place, there was no one to talk to, in fact, after duty and all, and there was no much work involved. It was just a crime, just looking after, very well know the duties of uh, force person in railways. So there were various deaf persons who were in the stations. Normally, I don't know the current scenario, because even I am not going to stations nowadays. But everywhere, if you are very observant, you will find that the deaf people, in fact, even they are orphan, they used to make a society among themselves. It's very difficult for other guys, if they are not get involved, to understand that there is another word away in on the other side of the wall, which is communication barrier. He's a simple man. He's got all the things intact in his body. You cannot visualize that he's a handicapped person, but I believe that it's the worst disability. He cannot speak. He want to say, suppose you're watching a TV channel and it's a suspense movie, and suppose light has gone, or the mute has come in the TV. You look your anxiety, that you are very anxious to see and what is happening now, but you cannot. And this happens with a deaf person since childhood. एक बच्चा घर में पैदा होता है, 3 साल तक 2.5 साल तक माँ बाप को पता ही नहीं होता है कि वो डेफ है। कभी वो मुस्कुराता है, कभी नहीं मुस्कुराता है। कभी जब 3 साल 3.5 साल बाद में कोई गिलास गिर गया, ही डिड नॉट रिएक्टेड, तब मदर बोलेगी नहीं कुछ है गड़बड़, पर फादर आएगा नहीं नहीं ऑफिस है, नहीं नहीं कुछ नहीं, देखो मुस्कुरा रहा है मेरे को देखे। सो दिस हैपेंड, एंड आफ्टरवर्ड्स जब उसको पता चलता है, 3.5 साल निकल चुके होते हैं, फिर वो डॉक्टर के चक्कर काटता है, डॉक्टर 2, 3, 4 साल करता है, एंड इट हैपेंड नॉर्मली विद द डेफ चाइल्ड. So frankly speaking, there were various a community of small boys, I'll say adolescence age. So we also have a juvenile code for that, and my duty was to control that also, because वो गलत चीजों में भी इन्वॉल्व हो जाते थे. So what I did, I started, मैंने रैकेट बैडमिंटन मंगा लिया और हम लोग वहीं पे खेलने लगे. आई अलाउड देम टू डू अनऑफिशियली कि तुम स्टेशन पे कर सकते हो, ककड़ी बेच सकते हो, एंड आई गिव देम 100 रुपए, ऐसे करके करोगे मजा. और आई एंजॉयड विद देम बिकॉज मैं अकेला था और मुझे बहुत मजा आया उनकी कंपनी से. एंड साइन लैंग्वेज मैंने थोड़ा बहुत आता भी था, मेरे साथ कई लोग इन्वॉल्व थे, तो थोड़ा बहुत अनलर्न किया, फिर ABCD और वो सब स्टार्ट किया वहां से, और it started there. But when I came back to Lucknow, transferred to Lucknow in 2000, we had a badminton court where I was playing since childhood, and there also we had a few deaf persons, so I used to train them, deaf persons. And handicap, I had not a no wheelchair person, but there were persons who were having one leg, and he was with a Baisakhi ko lekar wo khelta tha. So I used to do that, but that was not such a professional call. But afterwards, when the deaf community of Lucknow, they contacted me and they told me, sir, you should be the Uttar Pradesh Sports Council of the Deaf. It's the affiliated body of All India Sports Council of the Deaf, which is a national sports federation at par with PCI and SOB. So that federation, they contacted me, and afterwards that journey started. I started doing a professional badminton coaching to them. It was limited to that because I had my profession. That was a very time-taking profession, and I had I also qualified for national umpire examination in 2000 in Lucknow, Syed Modi. If I don't know, you are a very senior journalist, so you might have been there. I'm not sure, but I qualified that, and that technical official line, because badminton was my passion, so everything was badminton, badminton, badminton only. But as a player, I started doing this coaching to the deaf athletes. Then I created a language, sports sign language for the deaf, and they took me over to All India Sports Council of the Deaf. Then they made me the chief coach of Indian Deaf team. There I participated in 2 Olympic Games, World Championship, and I'm also blessed to become the coach for Asian team for China, Indonesia, Korea, Malaysia. They all jointly selected me in Korea World Championship in 2011. So it was a long journey, basically more concentrated towards deaf athletes. Afterwards, when as Pramod told, when I had been made the observer, because there were few issues going on in para badminton, and that is also true that that Ashutosh, one person, and Manoj, people used to contact me for para badminton, and few people used to play at Lucknow in para badminton, and I used to I used to send these para athletes to Tikaramji. So I used to call him that these boys are coming, please take care of that, because that time I was more devoted toward deaf athletes. But when I had a call with Sai that please look after para sports also, if you can do so, and that time the journey started, and the journey has come to this end now. This is the fact.
So, Gaurav sir, you've come a long way now. India recently now has got its own para badminton academy, which is named after you. Clearly, come a long way. How is it going? How is the academy going?
There's Pramod can tell better about this. In fact, Palak also had said, because we had a the as soon as I joined para badminton fraternity, as Pramod told, Pramod was playing very good. He's a natural player basically. Once you see his strokes, you'll say that he's a orthodox type of player. He can play any stroke from any position. Don't say about the basics, don't say about the fundamentals are very strong, but still he has got some deceptive strokes which are natural. Only Pramod made from Pramod only. So the concern is what I brought all these talents together at one place in Lucknow. My biggest challenge was how to make arrangements for their accommodation, how to make arrangements for the food, and how to arrange for how to just continue the training round the year. So we had some good contact, and the sports college has supported us, and they provided us the sports hostel guest house. And the court was not in good condition. It was wooden court, वो टूटा हुआ था और बारिश भी होता था, सब कुछ होता था. But we continued, and on that particular training, after that training, हमको Asian Games, World Championship और सारा medals, just because of we continued our training. And afterwards, Viraj Sagar Das ji, Akhilesh Das ji had come, and he supported us for BBD Academy. So we used to go to BBD Academy, but we had always been the second one, just to adjust the time after the able-bodied athletes finish their sessions. So we had dreamed to have a place where we can finalize the schedule as per our comfort zone and as per our convenience, because having a player like Pramod, having Manoj, having big player Sukant, Palak, Parul, Krishna, we deserve to have such a venue which should dominantly be used for para athletes, and we should be treated as the primary athletes. So for that vision we had been working since long, and now I'm thankful to Excelia School, who had just supported us and made their activity, their auditorium into a badminton hall having 4 courts, 2 synthetic one. And now we have our own center. We all have shifted to Omex City, and there we have already taken on rent 4 houses on rent, and all are staying there. We have 3 cooks, we have 2 physio, we have 1 masseur, and we have all sort of scientific training equipments available in that academy. That is also no doubt Sai is doing a lot of help to us. Besides them, we have Go Sports and Olympic Gold Quest and Welton also, who are supporting, and everything is we are managing with the athletes, with the support of athletes, and everything in the hand of athletes only. So it's a teamwork. It's not my individual credit. Its credit goes to all para athletes, all senior athletes.
Abhijit,
we are aware of what to expect from the Indian badminton team at Tokyo. So can you take us through the 7 events there are? What are our chances? And with one Spanish event left, which more athletes can actually qualify according to you, or what are you planning? Because first the qualifying and then the medal. So
This time we have only 90 slots total for Paralympics, and 46 males and 44 female. In this, unfortunately, as I told, that women SL3 is not a part of Paralympics, so we have only few events left where we play a very dominant role. And unfortunately, if we are strong in one category, we are very much strong in that. We don't have only one talent who can bring medal for the country. We have 2, 3, 4 players who are really outstanding. If they represent the country, they would definitely bring the medal. So our main challenge is the competition within our athletes only. In this category, if I'll say about SL3 category, Pramod has led the show. He's not in the reach of anyone who is in the second. Koi bhi ho chahe. So he's in a long lead. So Pramod is already got through for that. We are just waiting for a formal communication. Similarly, Krishna is also number one. So he's also away from any of the reach. And I don't think Pramod, because Pramod has got more than 5,000 ranking points. And similarly, this Krishna also having 4,520, 200 points more than Shepherd. So I believe that in any case, Krishna is also cannot be crossed by the fourth person, which is 2,000 point away. That is from England, Coombs. So Krishna is also. So these three boys are in singles, but the skeleton of the hierarchy and the way of Paralympic qualification will start from doubles event. So what I am expecting, as per the timeline, we are going to receive the first call for Palak and Parul. And since Palak has qualified for doubles, so she would also get the opportunity to play in singles event. And similarly, Parul will also be asked whether she would like to play in SL4 category or not. So this way it will start, and the BWF will communicate to us, and afterwards it's a clear shot for Pramod, it's a clear shot for Krishna, it's a clear shot for Pramod, Krishna, and Palak, Parul. Now Tarun, SL4. Now there is a close fight between Tarun and Suhas, because Tarun is at 3870 and Suhas is at 3770. So in case of ranking through qualification through ranking, it's, I believe, as of now, if I taking the status today, Tarun is ahead of Suhas. So we would receive a call for the first person. And after these 3 plus 2 persons being 5 persons, there is opportunity which is very much prominently available in SL3 class for Manoj. So I believe that Manoj will also get a call. Then SL4, I believe we will also get a call in bipartite quota, but Sukant is also not leaving the race. We were in the position, we were discussing on SL4 category, so it's Tarun also, believing that either Tarun or Suhas. It would be one and one more. So we are believing 2 in SL3, 2 in SL4, 1 is SS6, 7, and 2 in women doubles, 7 plus 2, 9. And I believe that even Rajkumar and can also get entry, because there is a provision in the regulation that if the female participant may get quota through women doubles, the next mixed doubles player will also get an entry. So I believe Rajkumar is also 99.9999% get a entry in Paralympics. So it's a good lot from Indian side to be there in the as a part of Paralympian.
Sorry. So what about Mansi? She's does she have any chance to go through the doubles?
See, Mansi, unfortunately, the event of Mansi is not there. Even singles event, I'm talking about singles event. And since singles event SL3 is not there, so India has lost 2 medals, I believe, because Parul and Mansi both are very strong contender in female SL3 class. But in doubles, since there is only one pair who can qualify for the same, and if I talk about women doubles SL3, SL4, SU5 category, Parul, Parmar, and Palak are at number 5 position, and Mansi and Aarti Patil are at number 15th position. So I don't think in women doubles it's difficult unless Palak and Parul will drop. So even it's not under the qualification standard, that is below 6th rank. And similarly, if we talk about mixed doubles, Rajkumar and Parul Parmar are at 6th position, and Mansi and Rakesh are at 12th position. So still, in order to qualify, a player has to be, by virtue of ranking, has to be number 1, 2, 3, 4. So fourth, third rank. So still, I think it's a little bit difficult, it seems.
So no chances for bipartite also in doubles events, or the bipartite is only for singles?
Bipartite is meant for singles. Just if a player is qualifying by virtue of some other criteria, then the next his partner may be given the opportunity. As I have just expressed that since Parul is qualifying through women doubles, so there could be a possibility where Rajkumar will also get a chance to join as a mixed doubles partner.
Sir, a slightly different question. Maybe this is Paralympics and we are focusing on it. But I have been around for a long time, and there is a problem. There is a problem. I think we should end this with a problem. Maybe that's a journalistic way of looking at it. But there is a problem that we still cannot figure out the various categories. In India, we still cannot figure out which player fits in which category, because that whole gradation system doesn't happen in India. So if we really want to take para badminton further, what are the steps that now BI is involved, the what do you say, the Paralympic committee is involved, and Sports Authority of India. What are those steps that we need to take para badminton to the next level?
Very valid question, Abhijit bhai. Since I have started and whatever the record made available to me before, I have noticed that none of the national championship exceeded the entry in above than 60 in a national championship. And that too, there are few events where there were no entry participants. And in few of the cases, there were only minimal participants. And female, obviously, it was very, very less. For a long period, Parul was, I think, alone. Pramod can put more light on this aspect. I believe he's a eyewitness for those events, Pramod. So the thing is, by the time when we started this journey, and we had also looked after the organization, publishing the same, letting it reach to everybody's knowledge through BI state secretaries and through Paralympic state bodies. And after making the wide publicity, now I'm pleased to share that now the previous nationals which happened in Uttarakhand, the entry crossed 400, and we also had started a junior event in that. So the foremost criteria in order to develop para badminton is to think for 2024 and 2028 Paralympics, number one. Point number two, you have raised a very valid point, which I have been insisting to BWF before, because there were various issues in India. So I had several times communicated to BWF that India has got a big database of players and we need a classifier. We need a qualified classifier. And there were, but unfortunately, it did not happen, and none of the classifier got the opportunity just to have an international classification. See, national classification is something else, but I really believe that that classification is not sufficient itself to bifurcate when there is a very marginal difference between two categories. So for that, every player has to spend a lot of money to go to international participation and to play that tournament, and only then we can confirm that yes, this is your classification. So what I have suggested recently to Mr. Prabhakar Rao Sahab and to Mr. Gusharanji, that in any case, now this national whenever it would be organized by our associations, we have to have one qualified classifier from BWF to be available in the country, so that we can ensure that there should not be any dispute with relation to this aspect. And secondly, that classifier should also take a few days good specialized classes, not 2 days classification, not 3 days classification. It has to, because every classification there are 3 stages. Number 1, verification of document. Number 2, clinical checkup. And number 3, observation of a player for the whole tournament, because a player may pretend clinically that he has various problems, but when he'll report on court, he'll show some different type of performance. So it happens in para badminton also. So this is a very valid question. See, I have suggested, and I believe that we are not will insist that there has to be a classifier. So number 1, emphasize on the junior athletes. Number two is this classification aspect. Number three, to have a wide publicity, and there has to be a all round, all sort of development, whether in terms of technical aspect, whether in terms of organizational aspect, whether in terms of just making people aware about all the categories. Because if I ask many of the persons who are authorized to for para badminton in the country, they are not well versed to define the criteria for classification. They are not good enough, having good enough knowledge to explain what is SL3, what is SL4, what is SU5, and how you can make a combination of doubles pair. So that there are various criterias. People have to spend time, people have to show concern, because if nobody is showing, and if I am taking interest, at one point of time I'm alone. I need more persons to get involved, and it would definitely be a teamwork.
प्रमोद, जैसे सर अभी गौरव जी ने बोला, कैन यू थ्रो लाइट ऑन द चेंजेस at the para badminton level ever since BWF has taken? Is it now easy to start playing badminton? आई थिंक प्रमोद का नहीं चल रहा है। पलक, एक बेसिक चीज पूछना था आपसे कि जैसे डबल्स खेलते हैं, इसमें बहुत बहुत चीजें होती है कि नॉर्मल डबल्स खेलते वक्त भी आपको बहुत अंडरस्टैंडिंग होता है, पर जब आप जो अब ओलंपिक के लिए खेल रहे हो पारुल के साथ, इट्स अगेन अ डिफरेंट डिसेबिलिटी। आपको बहुत अलग अलग सोचना पड़ता है डबल्स खेलते वक्त, बिकॉज एक प्लेयर अलग खेलता
अरे
है,
सो रहे हो क्या?
आप
क्वेश्चन
अलग
पूछ
खेल
रहे
रहे
तुमसे।
हो। सो
क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं तुमसे आज इसके बारे में, फिर से बोल देना अभी।
सो पलक, कितना डिफरेंट है, कितना कितना मुश्किल है डबल्स खेलना? बिकॉज आप डबल्स से क्वालिफाई होके बाकी सिंगल्स भी खेलने वाले हो, डबल्स भी खेलने वाले
Doubles, basically able-bodied doubles is like both the players, they have to put on equal efforts and there is proper rotation and proper understanding. But whereas in our case, like I and Parul Didi, like I play in SU5 category where my singles is full court. And Parul Didi plays in SL3 category and where her singles is just the half court, just because of her disability. So when we play doubles, for our our category, and we have a category against us also SL4 and SL4, which is both which both the players, they have their individual singles also full court. So it's very difficult because in our case, like Parul Didi, she has to just cover the front area of the court, and that also a corner, because for that's more a pressure upon me as well. And but we need to coordinate in this as well. Whichever shuttle she will be taking and she would be intercepting is one of the concerns with us as well. But but rest we know about like our strengths, and I have to play three corner in that, and so it's not that difficult for our understanding that we need much games together. But we play more so that we can just boost each other, and we can just set up to our manner of our play at the tournaments.
So before we end, I wanted to ask, Palak, how has the last year been? I'm sure, with the lockdown and everything, it would have been difficult to train. How did you like manage to go through it?
When I first heard about the lockdown and about the COVID, that was in a way a very big blow for me, because for I have sacrificed my 12th board examinations to participate in the events for Paralympic qualifications that were in February, Brazil and Peru Para Badminton International tournaments. Uh, so just hearing about COVID was very disheartening, and hearing about the lockdown as well. But rather I'll say like it was a golden opportunity for me, as I was here in Lucknow only during the whole lockdown, and keeping the situations of the other countries. Gaurav sir smelled that lockdown will happen in our country as well, so we procured a lot of equipments, and we there was no court indoor courts available during the lockdown. So we prepared a court in outside our garden, and we used to play on grass and mud, though it was slippery over there. And we used to play in sunlight, and there was a lot of air as well. But Gaurav sir used to manage, like, when the day was much windy, then he used to just focus upon our skill strokes, and simultaneously used to plan accordingly, keeping the conditions in knowledge. And he also doesn't even allowed us to complain, and he even encouraged us to just adjust in the circumstances. And so we kept ourselves pushing. And the whole the whole lockdown was in a way a very enough way blessing for me, because I have learned a lot of skills, strokes as well. And now I'm happy, like, now everything has opened, and I'm very excited for the further upcoming tournaments. And hopefully I have my preparations on, and let's see to the upcoming events coming forward. And I just hope that I can show myself more stronger.
All right. Thank you so much, Palak, for joining us, and Pramod as well. Thank you, Gaurav sir. This was a
Abhijit
really
bhai.
it was a really informative session that we had. Thank you so much for joining. And Abhijit, as always, thanks again. So that's the end of this episode of Net Picking. Hope you liked it. We'll be back again very soon with our next episode. Until then, keep visiting badmintonnation.in for the latest in Indian and international badminton. Until next time, cheers.